Good morning, one and all. Thank you very much for joining us on Ange-r Management. First of all, apologies for the delay. My computer decided to malfunction, so I had to go grab the work laptop, and here we are, ready to dissect an exhausting game of football. Obviously, here with my partner in crime, Mr. Johnny, age 32. How are we today, Johnny?
I'm okay. I was getting in a panic when your computer said no.
Oh, mate.
Computer says no. Yeah, I mean, listen, it wasn't for the faint-hearted last night. Let's be honest. It was a hard watch at times. Listen, to the neutral, it was a great game of football. To the Spurs fan, it's not what you want to. It's not what you want to watch. It really is.
But Johnny, most importantly, did you watch the light show? And how great was it?
Listen, let me tell you something. I posted the light show, and it was very good. It actually was cool. Actually, well, when we come on to that, right? I actually thought, what a fantastic way. I'm not sure if it can be done, but wouldn't it be amazing if you can control the lights to make a stadium tifo?
That would be handy. That
I mean, could you imagine, like, if it could actually, if you could use those lights to actually computer generated stuff to actually write something or put a face up of a player, it would be pretty cool, especially spinning around. So no, I've got to be honest with you, I did mock it. I mocked it and mocked it and mocked it. And in fact, the guy next to me said, "Have you got your camera ready?" I said, "Yeah, to video it, not to take part in it." And it was impressive. It was impressive, I must say.
Okay, so before we do the hellos, I just want to say, because she will be watching this when she gets home from school, it's my niece, Sophie's 4th birthday today. So
that was a terrible mistake.
Very, very happy birthday to my one and only niece. The woman, the little girl that literally says jump and I say how high. She has me wrapped around her little finger, but happy birthday to her. Let's say hello to everyone in the chat, then we'll get into it. So Sean Slater, good morning, sir.
Morning, Sean.
Adam, good morning. Rayman, good morning. Lee Harvey, good morning. Chris Agenbar, good morning. Gabrielle, good morning. Agdavon Wembley, good morning. Eddie, good morning. Richard May, good morning. Andrew Gregory, good morning. Colin Cross, good morning. We will be talking about a player today, and I've got a big smile on my face because of it. Andrew, good morning. Mark Cousins, good morning. Ben, good morning. Mr. Coffee Man. Just so people know, today, transfer deadline Dayhem will be all day on Tottenham on tour. Rayman again. We got Ben with the bullseyes. Tony Rodriguez, Mr. Sweden, is in the house. Where is his message? Let me go back to it. There it is. Tony, good morning. Ryan is here. Ryan Isaacs, who has to now either jump in snow if we get any, topless, or the ice bucket challenge outside, because he said Johnson wouldn't score. I love it when he makes bets. They always come in for me. Mark, good morning. Fran, good morning. Crossbone Sea Gaming, good morning. Daniel, good morning. Phil P, good morning. Heath, good morning. Eddie's, good morning. There's a lot of people in here. Good morning. Who else we got in here that I haven't seen yet? James Flower is here. Kookaburra is here. Kenro Yid is here. John Ellis Hall is here. Who else have we got in the chat so we can make sure we've said hello to everyone? I think that may be it. Ray the Yid, of course, is in here. David E is in here. The Register Benjamin is here. Mike Waters is here. Shem is here. Let's have a look. Tottenham Tom is here. My God, there's so many. Fran is here. Good morning to you.
What are all these people doing here?
They're coming to the best after-game show that there is, mate. Peckham Steve is here. Right, Hot God is here. Kudos is here. The man, if everyone loved the image that we put up.
Morning, good morning, everybody.
He does great work on Twitter with videos and images of the highest standard you will find on Twitter. Everyone go and follow his Twitter. It's just as it's written there, all one word. Good morning, Ronnie. Good morning, Amin. Good morning, To David and to Lee. And
Good morning, all. I think is what
yes,
Brian
I
said.
think we are caught up. And AJ is here and Mark is here. Right. 140 of you here already. Like I said, apologies for the delay. We are going to break this down the way we always do. I've seen some new names, so just so people are aware of how this show goes. We will deal with the negatives, the positives, the special mentions, then Ange Postecoglou himself. Ben's in the background and can take over the comments as of now because they're flying. The negatives.
It's not flipping, guys. It's not flipping. If you watched this last week and we were criticising someone, and this week we're praising them, it's not flip-flopping. It's game-by-game analysis. So if your favourite player had a terrible, terrible game, and our favourite player had a terrible game, we're going to criticise them, right? And if they had a great game, we're going to praise them. That's the way it is. That's what it's about, game by game. Okay?
There we go. So
just for the
negative
newbies.
first, Johnny. What's your first negative?
My first negative, well, it was a lot, really. I thought the referee was, again, right, absolutely atrocious last night. Had absolutely no control of the game from the off. First 3 minutes, Ivan Toney went through the back of 3 players, right? He should have been booked for the first one. Second one, and by the time he got to the third one, he just had a word with him. And it was, I think, a bit like the Chelsea game. If you don't stamp your authority early on, what happens is it gets out of hand. We spent so much of that game. I could see we were getting riled up again, very much like the, that Chelsea game where we were 1-0 up. The referee didn't get hold of it. They went through Maddison and Son and Romero, and then we lost it. It didn't help as well when Malpai did what he did with the dart. And then he's come over and he's confronting Maddison. That wasn't a friendly hug. There was words exchanged there. He never nipped it in the bud. The start, and then we got embroiled in that first half. In speaking more to the bloody referee, I don't know what that is. Sorry, Johnny. I don't know what was about.
That's Ben saying Timo Werner is now level on assist with Martin Odegaard.
No, the one before that.
Oh, yeah. I didn't see the one. So Ben's man in the comments.
Sorry, Johnny. I don't know. Yeah, no. They got embroiled in talking to the referee and arguing with the referee more than anything else, right? And it's total ill discipline in that first half. I've got to be honest with you. It really was poor. Concentrate on the game, right? I know Ange does not like getting embroiled in it all. But I just felt that there was too much of it. And we allowed them to nudge us and we rose to the bait. We were triggered. Everything that they did triggered us into not concentrating on the game. And we lost our shape, we lost our rhythm, and it was poor.
Yeah, I mean, the first half was one of the worst first halves I think I've seen this season. We could not pass the ball anywhere on that pitch. I will say Maddison started off brightly, but then after that, that first half, I just don't understand what happened. Every single department looked riled. Every single department on that field didn't know what they were doing. The midfield couldn't get it up to the front line to do anything. The defense were doing their job barely. We were getting caught out time after time after time after time. It just looked like we'd been on the piss up for the last few days. It was like, go play football. I can't explain what that was. And then I looked at it and you thought, right, that back five is our back five. That is the back five. Benson, Core and Maddison are definitely 2 of the 3 midfielders that start. The forward line, obviously, there's no Sonny and what that becomes. But there were 7 first teamers that walk into that first team squad. We were talking about how once we start getting players back, things will change and things will look. And don't get me wrong, it changed in the second half for that opening part. But with 7 key players, first teamers, without a doubt, in that starting lineup against Brentford, who had their game plan spot on, I expected a lot more than that first half performance, Johnny.
Look, for me, Thomas Frank outsmarted Ange in that first half, right? He tactically got the better of him. This is what I'm saying when you have rigid tactics, right, and you refuse to compromise on your tactics, there has to be some fluidity to it. For me, it was obvious what was happening in that first half. We play with inverted backs. We were so inverted. The whole bloody team was inverted. It was so inverted, it was almost compressed, like a vacuum in the middle of that park where no one could move. Everyone was inside Madison's space. They were walking through the middle, right? There was no room to move. It was crying out for width, okay? We just didn't exploit the width. As I said, we were so inverted. Everything was compacted into the middle. It suited them perfectly. They used the width. The constant balls over the top. I mean, let's be honest. Vicario made 3 good saves. They had 2 goals. They put the ball in the net twice, of which one was disallowed. Plus, Ivan Toney missed a very good chance. And I think we were so easily exploited. You can't be that narrow. You can't be. I mean, we managed, I think, later on in the half, right towards the end, we tried to get some width back into the game. But it was, for me, I could see clearly what was going on. And I think Ange was really frustrated, but I'm not sure. You could see he was frustrated, but I'm not sure whether he was frustrated about them not concentrating on the game and lost their discipline, or the shape. For me, the shape was all wrong. If you play like that against the top team, that inverted, they will destroy you. They will destroy you. And a better team would have taken us apart in that first. I mean, I think we started, for me, the whole game, I think, was concised into 7 minutes of football. For me, 7 minutes of football in that second half. That's what we got. We started well for the first 10 minutes, maybe. And then as soon as the goal went, that was that. And then literally, I would say we had 7 minutes of blessed football. And then we did the same thing again. We got complacent and we switched off. You've got to be disciplined.
Yep. I have to say, first of all, Chang, thank you very much indeed for your 1 month member free super chat. Thank you very much indeed. Anyone that has had a membership for over a month, you will be getting a free 150 character super chat that you can always put up on there. Joe, you know what? Like I said, the other thing you mentioned, the referee. I don't know why that. Listen, Mope is a serial wine merchant, a shithousery, but that became so spicy so quickly out of nowhere.
Well, it's from the off, Brian. Interruptory.
This is what I'm saying, and as you said at the beginning as well, as people will know that watch this show and have watched this or watched me on other channels for a while, Thomas Frank was my guy that I wanted. He was the manager that I wanted. Obviously, I'm much happier we got Ange.
You go back one, Brian.
It's not me; it's Ben doing it.
Oh, Ben, could you, the tactical setup. I think it works if we play the ball quickly.
He's right. No, but with that, do you know what? With that, I agree. We were talking about against Manchester City, and recently, not just Manchester City, since Maddison has been out or Bentancur was out, our timing of our passes, and I've stuck up for Richarlison was saying this when he's been caught offside. Listen, he does get caught offside a lot, but a lot of the time it's because the speed of the pass has just been too slow.
For that, but what Rayman's saying there, Rayman, I hear what you're saying, but when you look, you cannot say, go back and look at that game and look how inverted the whole team was in that first half. And when you look at our game play, how we played in the last 4 or 5 games, with Brennan Johnson pushed so far forward, right, and whoever's playing on the left-hand side, whoever it may be, push forward. Timo Werner tracks back more, but Udogie and the space behind Werner and the space behind Johnson or Kulu was ridiculous, right? And they just kept exploiting it. In that first half, they just kept coming down that right-hand side because the space was there for them to exploit. The difference is when you got Papa Sarr, who's got the legs to cover that space to the left or to the right, that's fine. Well, we don't have the legs. Skip and Højbjerg don't play that sort of game that they can get into that space and cover, and that's why we get exploited. Personally,
yeah. I mean, like you said, it was right. I just yesterday just something that's clearly not right. I think it's clearly shown. We're not getting into transfers now. As Ben said, transfer Dayhem will be starting at 11:30 on Tottenham on tour. But it just shows that we need someone. In all honesty, as well, I don't know. We're just going to touch on him, but not his game. I think we've rushed Maddison back. I really do. He did not in that first half. Started off brightly, but did not look at the races. Second half, he got more involved, but I think he had been.
There was no space, Brian. There was no space for him to operate. There was no space for him to operate, Brian. Go back and look at the game. Look how condensed it was. They were trying to walk through the middle, right? They were all on top of each other. There was no space. It is no coincidence that he made the substitution of getting rid of Bentancur and Skip and push them wide. Lo and behold, we come out in that second half and we used the width. It was obvious that we weren't utilising the width to counter-attack them. And we exploited them because we didn't do it once in the first half, so they weren't expecting it in the second. But I think Sarr is the crucial player in this system. If you've got a Sarr and a Basuma, whether they share the load, Sarr comes on, and then he comes in after 60, 70 minutes, because it's an exhausting job having to cover that space behind the two.
You're right. Do you have any more negatives?
No. I listen. Apart from the fact that we tire, Brian. Why are we tiring? We are playing the least amount of games since 2005. 19 years of football. This is the least amount of games that we are playing. 41, I think, in 2005. I think it is, and we've got 40 or 41 this year. But why are we? I mean, what would happen if we were in Europe right now? We would be in an absolute. We'd be out probably, or we would not be if we were in Europe with these tactics. We would not be sat in fourth position right now.
Correct. No, I completely agree. So let's move on to positives.
Well, the main one is we're fourth. We're in the mix. We are properly in the mix. There's beginning to show a gap now between us and the others. I think Europe is more or less guaranteed if we can get probably another couple of wins in the next two. This next run is crucial for us. I think, for us to make a statement of intent and to keep the pressure on, because right now no one's really talking about us. It's all Liverpool, Man City, and Arsenal, right? We're not really even in the conversation, right? Which is great, because that's how we like it. If we can put a run together right now, fantastic. But I do feel that the positivity is the fact that with so many players missing, we're not firing properly at the moment. So it can only be a good thing, because things can only get better.
As D. Ream once said. I did start singing that in the pub at halftime with a few people. What can I say? Listen, what I will say is we found answers. For once, what I will say is a huge positive, and it has to be as well, is we've spoken on this show, and I've heard many others talking about it and seen it on social media. Sometimes question what Ange does at halftime or substitution-wise.
Yeah.
Well, he made 2 subs. I mean, I will say I couldn't believe he took Skippy off. You and me spoke. I thought Skippy in the first half was probably one of our best players. I really listen. I think he gave he did really put. Listen, it was no champagne and Skittles, but he was the one that looked like he was trying to get things going. I was surprised that he took him off, but got him off. He came on. Ryan saying Skippy done 0. He's obviously sitting next to me, but watching a different game. When we were at the yard, I think, listen, this guy comes in for a lot of criticism. We're not doing special mentions just yet. Anyway, we come to it. But I couldn't understand, or sorry, that first half, he made the substitutions, and boy, did it have an impact. One thing, we came out like Ange must have given them an absolute bollocking and a half at half time, because they came out, and like you said, Johnny, in those first 7 minutes, I'm surprised we didn't. I remember a game years and years and years ago. You were probably there, Johnny, when against Southampton, when we scored 4 goals in 4 minutes 44 seconds. I literally thought it was going to be another one of them, but it was another question that was asked. We had to come back and put on a show because the knives would have come out from the media, from Spurs fans, but he got his substitutions right, didn't he?
Yeah, look, I've been one of the most vocal about the changes, especially against Man City in that last 10 minutes. I still feel sometimes that there are things going on in the pitch that he doesn't react to, like tactically. In that first half, for example, when we were so narrow, I didn't see him making any gestures. I saw the backroom staff going mad. I saw the backroom staff waving their arms, aka Arteta, on the touchline, not him. But for me, the big change was the width, right? Udogie, right? When you look at Destiny, right? When you look at him at Udinese, he would pick up the ball wide and he would run down that wing. And once he started gathering pace, there was no stopping him. He would cut inside and unleash a shot, right?
Yeah.
When you're playing that inverted, you're running into traffic straight away. You're running into people. There's no chance to gather up pace. So it was no coincidence to me in that second half. Suddenly he's running into space. And look what happens when he runs into space, right? It's completely different. Werner had space. He had space, right? Johnson had space, right? So that's all I'm saying, right? I don't know whether it was tactically, he did it on purpose, or he gave him a bollocking at halftime, but that was the big change for me. Again, it's a negative, but we were hanging in again. We were hanging on in at the end, but we hung in well. We tried to game manage it. A special mention, I shouldn't normally do a special mention this part, but Jamie Donnelly's foul.
Yep, Sean Slater said it. Said it.
His tactical foul was crucial, right? Because that's using your nous. Okay, going down. I mean, staying down when you've been injured, right? Conte, it's quite funny when you look at the flip side between Conte and Mourinho, would be wanting them to speak to the referees, to go down, hold their legs, scream, bitch, moan.
Yep.
Ange doesn't want any of that. He doesn't want to see you moaning, rolling around. Get on with it. Get up. I don't want you moaning at the referee. Brentford did the opposite of that. So I don't know whether we should be applauding it as a positive that we don't do that. For me, it's a bit of a negative. I want them to use every tactics. Pep would use every tactic. We've seen Man City do it in our game. Look how many times Rodri and Kovacic pulled down. I'd like to see a bit more of that from our team. So I quite liked Donnelly's that bit, and I liked our shithousery.
Oh, mate, it was yesterday. Yesterday, it was on another level.
Yeah, I liked
that showed the team bonding and the team camaraderie.
Yeah.
When literally, I mean, when Mopé went and when are people going to learn? Do not imitate Maddison, because it doesn't have really good ramifications for you. It happened with the filth. As soon as I saw that, I was like, "Oh, you idiots! You absolute idiots!" I mean, Brennan Johnson, when he got his goal, they did it. Richarlison, when he ran back, went straight to Mopé. What an absolute fool. And I just want to say, we've got a new member, Andrew Bennett. welcome to the Tottenham on Tour family. Thank you very much indeed for becoming a member. Lots of incredible stuff coming your way in the month of February and moving forward. But yeah, just very quickly before we go into the special mentions, Johnny, because we're going to wrap up at 10:30 your time. So sorry, 11,
Okay.
half 10, 11. So we got a while anyway.
I was going to say one of the highlights was you should have cashed out. You should have cashed out. Ivan Toney, you should have cashed out.
He's going to get it everywhere. But what I was going to say, obviously, it's a negative that you mentioned that yes, we were hanging on again, but then you can flip it on the positive and say, well, we did hang on again. Years gone by, that's 3-3. That's 3-3. That's so they got the job done. They did it. Big up, Trigger. I've got to respond to you. I think I'll Instagram straight after. My bad. Yeah, we big up
Morning,
Lewis. I hope you're good, brother.
Morning, Lewis.
So yeah, listen. You look at it as the positive or the negative or both. But it's 3 points. I think it's time to move on to special mentions, Johnny. I think it's time to move on to special mentions. Let's deal with the positive. Do you want to deal with the negative ones first or the positive ones?
No, I'll just go through them. Right. Listen, I've got to go for my man because I've spent 18 months defending him, a year telling everybody that he's carrying an injury, and the grief and the insults that I get. I still get them today, even on my post. Richie, since that operation. Those that know me, that I've been telling people that since that World Cup he's been carrying that injury. Come the summer, he went in the break there to try and get cured of the condition that was affecting his parts of his back and his ability to run. Thought he got it cured, and then it went again in one training game. But he was told to get on with it because that's what you do. Right? Niggles, bumps, bruises. That's what footballers do. Stop whinging, stop moaning, get on with it. And it just got to the stage where it was affecting him so badly, he just couldn't perform. So they decided to do the op. Look at that now. Look at the player that he is now. Look how he moves. Look how he closes down. We are now getting the Richarlison that you saw at Everton, and people will say, "Oh yeah, that he was crap there." Look who was supplying him. Look to the team he was surrounded with. His work rate, his closing down. I don't think people realise. If he doesn't score a goal, people say he's rubbish, right? I don't think people realise the amount of work that he does when he's taking defenders with him. Okay, he's pulling left, he's pulling right. When he gets someone like Werner and Maddison into that team, he's going to get even better. I still don't think he's to the level that he's going to be. If he can stay fit and the injury doesn't come up, I reckon in the next 3 or 4 games, he's going to get even better. He's now lasting a full 90 minutes at that work rate. 7 goals in 7 games, the most goals scored by any player since the beginning of December. And yet people are still quoting, he's only got 7 goals in 40 games. I'm not interested in the past is the past. I look at Darwin Núñez, right? I love Darwin Núñez, right? I think he's an unbelievable player. And all everyone talks about is 12 times he's hit the post this season, right? I don't care. The guy is going to be a monster, okay? I'm not saying he's going to be Darwin Núñez, but, replace Richie? Why? We need we need extra strikers. Top teams don't have one striker. If we want to add in the summer to Richie, great. But he's going to be a valuable member of that squad because there'll be certain games when you need brute force. You'll need that shithousery that Sonny, as good as he is, he doesn't offer that. We've seen it in games, Sheffield United and places like that when Sonny's gone up front and he gets bullied. You're not going to bully Richie. And I think he's hold up play and bringing others into the game was also really good, linking up with Maddison and Werner. I think people could be surprised this season how many he goes on to have. And I think if he gets 15 goals this season, I think it's a really good season for him.
Yes, so when it comes to Richie, Guardians of the Pumba in the house. Listen, this guy, I think you could say to any manager in the Premier League, including Pep, including Klopp, right now your star striker's going to get 7 goals in 7 games guaranteed. They'll take it every single bloody time. Because they're not different types of goals and different styles of goals, and some might be tap-ins. I grew up, and football grew up with foxes and the boxes and the 6-yard tap in. Look at Gary Lineker; he made a goddamn career out of it. His work rate is outstanding. His work rate has been absolutely outstanding. Listen, it wasn't the prettiest goal. I mean, he almost scored the prettiest. He almost scored the. If that strike
Oh,
was
what
in
a
the
shot
first
that
half,
would have been!
oh my god,
They
that
would have all
literally.
shut up then, wouldn't they, Brian?
There was a guy next to me at the Scotland Yard, a very good friend of mine, Tom, that cheered twice because he thought it had gone in twice. Literally, when it hit the stanchion, he was like, "Yes!" And then when it, ripples the back of the net, and then obviously realised that it hadn't gone in. His work rate is just getting better and better. His hold-up play. If you look at a lot of the free-flowing football that was happening in the first half, where breaking, he was laying everything off.
Correct.
He was in the mix with it all, and people may say that he's not the ideal striker. People may say, I don't like him, he's not for me. But he's hitting the ball in the back of the net. If we didn't have his goals that he'd got since the op, we would be in a lot worse place. And listen, he isn't the prettiest, but that we knew that when we were getting him. He is a shithousery, rough, aggressive, non-stop footballer. And right now, he is on fire. He is on fire. I think someone said in there as well, for minutes per game, he's the top striker in the league. You got to remember, he hasn't had a full season. He hasn't started every single game. So fair play to Richie. And then, do you know what? I'm going straight for.
Can I just add one last thing? This conversation, it just infuriates me. He's no Harry Kane. Of course, he's not Harry Kane. You can't replace Harry Kane. Harry Kanes don't grow on trees. Ronaldo's, Messi's, they don't grow on trees, okay? They come along once in a generation. We haven't had a Harry Kane since Jimmy Greaves, for God's sake, right? Get over it, okay? Yep. There isn't a 30-goal season guy lurking around, okay? That's going to come and drop down and create goals, and they don't exist. Look how many clubs. Chelsea are looking for a striker. Arsenal are looking for a striker. There's so many clubs looking for a top striker. We need to add to Richie, not take away. Sorry.
Yep. No. My next special mention, I'm staying at the top, and I'm going for the man on the left that's come in since he's been in, has been met with either, it's a great signing, or it's a. I think Timo Werner yesterday. Listen, he needs to work on his final ball. His final ball needs work. But for a guy that's hardly played any football, and come on, his movement is wonderful. He is always available. He is always out wide. There's a few times again where we didn't release him in time, but we started using him more. And he started. Listen, I think in that first half he had 3 or 4, maybe even 5 attempts where he got wide, tried to get it in, got past the first man, but I had that shot. But the second half, I mean, that ball to Brennan Johnson was spot on, was absolutely spot on. At a time when we were in the insurgency, we needed that ball to be delivered in at the right time, and he did. And I think Timo Werner is getting a lot of hate, or a lot of people saying he's not good enough. He's not good enough right now. He's had. Do you know what? Lee Harvey's just said 2 Premier matches, 3 assists.
Yeah.
There you go. What? In what world do you ever say no? If someone said to you, right, this guy's going to get 3 assists in 2 games, not one person will go, no, I won't have that. I won't take that. There's a lot of stuff going on with Timo Werner. I don't get it. I said when we signed him, this is either going to be inspired or a flop. And I think yesterday he put in a great performance. I'd loved it if he had got that goal, but I think people need to start calming down giving Timo Werner so much grief. Can you imagine if he's playing alongside Sonny, or if he goes? I actually wouldn't mind. Big up, Sean. I've just seen Sean Spurs Talk shows in the house. Good morning, Sean. I hope you're good. I think Werner deserves a lot of credit. I said when we signed him, I thought it was people going on again because it's free. And listen, I normally I would jump on that bandwagon and I would jump there straight away, going, "Oh, Daniel Levy's doing it on the cheap. He's doing it this. He's doing that." He does everything that Ange wants, everything that Ange needs, and of course it's a big if. He gets if he gets anywhere near the form of his first half, his first stint at Red Bull, we are absolutely laughing. And yesterday, I think he deserves a lot of credit, Johnny.
Honestly, I'm sick of this. I'm sick of our fan base. I really am. I mean, it's just, we spend more time like the guy's had 2 games. He's had 17 minutes in 2.5 months. He comes in and they expect him to be Pele or I just don't understand them. I mean, it's mental. I don't get it. If one of our players had been out for 2.5 months, you wouldn't expect him to come in and smash it. Okay, it just doesn't happen. I thought he was fantastic against Man City. Everyone said he was rubbish, right? He made intelligent runs. His football IQ is better than the combined football IQ of Brennan Johnson and Richarlison.
Whoa. Okay, no, I see where you're going with that. I see where you're going. Go on.
I'm talking about football IQ.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. He does not cut back like Kulu. Okay. He attacks the space. Okay. If you give him the space, he'll run into it. He'll cut back into it. He had 2 assists, in my opinion, right? Because the Kulu, the Destiny one was his cross. It came off of the defender, so he popped it back in. But he made various runs. And, you know, when you got a fit and alert James Maddison, which we could see, he's going to take 3 or 4 games before he gets back to the Maddison that we saw before. When he starts releasing him with those first-time balls, yes, he's hit and miss, Timo Werner. Yes, he's going to miss shots. Yes, he's going to screw stuff up. But that is what you get with Timo Werner. But he's going to cause havoc. He's exactly what we need. He's 27 years of age. He's a German international. What do you want? He's lightning quick. He's got everything. 4 million. I mean, we've covered his loan fee by getting rid of Eric Dyer, and we can buy him for 15 million. What can you buy for 15 million? You know, you go into Europe next season. What's this now? What was that last one?
Then bring it back up.
I don't know what you're about, Ogranchi. Pop off.
That's the guy that came in and told me that last week. Just ignore him.
It's just another one of Stell's mates, no doubt.
No, it's not. No, it's not one of Stell's mates. It's not.
Look, I think Werner. I don't know what more people want. And as the stat says, 2 assists in 3 games. The Man City game, no one did anything. But I thought he was a standout player against Man City with those incredible runs. If only one of our midfielders had picked out one of his runs, it would have had a different conversation. Eric Dyer entered the conversation by default. Long may continue. Let's give him some space. The most interesting thing for me is can you drop him?
I don't think you can right now.
Drop him? I don't know if you can. I don't know whether you can drop him. I've got to be honest with you. The one player for me, who could get dropped is Kulu for me.
Yeah.
Right. So should we go on to the next? Who should we go on to?
It's up to you, buddy.
Let's go for Destiny. Going forward, he was unbelievable. Like I said to you, you know, when I watched him at Udinese, I was so excited, you know, hugging that touchline. I thought, God knows what's he going to do. This is before Conte, obviously, decided to have his flip. And then when we got Ange, I wondered how would he adapt to playing a totally different system and playing in the Premier League from playing in Italy when you're hugging the touchline. He's 21 years of age, right? He was poor defensively yesterday and incredible going forward. His power going forward. He's 21 years of age. He's just come into the Premier League. He's learning on the job. There's no backup. There's nothing. We got no one else at left back, right? You know, he can't be dropped. Yes, he's made mistakes. Yes, he got sent off in the Chelsea game. Yes, we've seen other games where he's defensively made mistakes. He's learning on the job. I think he's going to be a fantastic player, given time. And I think, you know, the way things are going, he could play in any system, really. I still believe that he's better out wide, being able to cut in rather than inverted. As I said before, when inverted, he runs into space. In that second half, he played a bit wider. He utilised that space and look at those driving runs. I mean, the run he did for the first goal, he started the whole movement, didn't he? Before he passed it out to Werner, and to carry on the run, to then pick up and still have the energy to pop the ball in, superb. So don't give him a hard time. 21 years of age, learning, first season in the Premier League. You know, he's doing all right. He's doing all right. Could
you know
cost
what?
us again.
I think Destiny could be the first player that could make it into the positive, the negative, and the special mentions. I think he's the first one that could do it. Listen, the offensive, attacking wise, he's sublime. The energy and power of this man, and I've seen it a few times where he's had a sloppy. The first one that comes to mind is the North London derby.
Yeah,
the North London derby where he got a yellow card early, back pass, which he's got to work on his back, looking for his back pass.
Did he slip? Did he slip?
He did. With that, he did slip, but you wouldn't have seen it because you're at the game, Johnny. When they showed it on the replay, he even went like this to say, "I didn't see him." So he did listen. He didn't see him. He did slip. At one point, I thought he was actually trying to pass it to Romero and slipped, and it went back. But when you look at it and then you see Destiny on the replays, it's something he needs to work on. We all say that Richarlison needs to work on his finishing. Ollie Skip needs to work on this. Brennan Johnson needs to work. He needs to check. Like when you're pulling out of a car park and you check your rear view mirrors, he needs to start checking where he's passing it. But attacking mind, he's extraordinary. He's extraordinary. He's unbelievable. And even though he had those moments at his age, they could really affect people. You look at someone like Brennan Johnson right now, who is severely lacking in confidence and isn't trying anything. Not Destiny. Destiny will keep trying and trying and trying. And what we have to remember, he's doing exactly what Ange asked him. That's what he's doing. Ange just said, like we've spoken about Bissouma, or we've seen Ange said, I tell the players to go do this. So if they do this and they miss up, this is on me. Unlike other managers, not just previous Spurs ones, other managers, they'll throw players under the bus. Got his goal. It fell nicely for him, didn't it? But it wiped the cobwebs off, and I think he had a good game apart defensively.
He kept calm, didn't he, for the finish? You say, but he kept calm to place it in the beginning. He just
needed to. He just needs to check his rearview mirrors when he's passing that ball back, and just check and listen. It's something that he'll grow and something that he'll learn on. That is something he'll improve on with training. I am going to mention him. I mentioned him before, and I think this is a player that comes in for a lot of stick. I am going to mention Ollie Skip. I am going to mention him. I think in that first half, defensively, his support for I think, put it this way, the first half, I think he was our best midfielder. I really do. I really, really do. Not for what he was, not just on the ball, off the ball. And like I said, I was surprised to see him come off. Listen, I'm not saying all of a sudden I want Ollie Skip to stay and I think he's a starter. Like you said at the beginning, Johnny, we will talk about this game by game. And where I've heavily criticised Skip on certain games, especially recently the Burnley game, I think in the first half, Ollie Skip put in a shift. But what he needed was who I thought Pierre coming on, who I think has to start from the bench from now on, has to, because he has such a better impact from the bench. And obviously, then we moved. I can't. Who was the other sub that came on? Why has it gone out of my mind? Thank.
For Brennan
Yeah, no, who came on? Johnson, of all people. Why am I forgetting Brennan? That's the thing. That's the thing. I literally think Ollie Skip in the first half, sorry, had a very good game. Johnny, go
on. Listen, I'll start with the positives, right? He got a couple of really good blocks in. One he got with the thigh, which looked like it was going in the first half. He read the ball, came across. Another little block he got in. He set Kulu off on the right-hand side with a nice pass that Kulu should have done better with. But for me, he did lots of little passes, but he wasn't progressing the ball forward. He passed the ball. I think his pass completion was probably, I would think, I haven't seen it, it's probably mid-high 90s, I would think. Lots of little passes, but I think Ange wanted the ball to progress. I'm not going to say he had a terrible game. I was joking with some people, like he was absolutely shocking. He did positive things right in the game, but for me, the negative was he didn't progress the ball enough. And it wasn't just him. I just felt that midfield was. I've said to you, it was just too crowded. Maddison had no room to breathe, and I think look, Ange obviously saw something and agreed because he took him off, right? Lolo wasn't at the races. So it was something wrong. I just thought that Skip wasn't progressing the ball. And by bringing in Johnson, we spread the ball a bit wider.
Yep.
And what's his name sat back, Højbjerg. And I thought Højbjerg had a good game when he came on in the second half. He did plenty of decent things. I think he set one of the for the goals, set the pass up with the first pass to set Werner free, but he did it for a reason. Look, I'm Skip. If you want to give someone marks out of 10 for effort, he will always be a 10 out of 10. You'll never see him get less than 100%. Oliveri Scipione, as he's now known, he's limited. He's limited. He's limited in where we want to be, right? That's not to be confused that I hate him and I want him to do bad, because I don't. I want him to have a good game. I just think that in this system that we're going to play, it needs a more technical and a more superior player. That's it. I think he's a mid-table. I think he's a Crystal Palace, that sort of middle table player. But he wasn't horrendous. He did some good things, but for me, didn't progress the ball enough after the opening few minutes.
Before you go on and pick your one, just want to say thank you to David Shire, who's gifted someone a membership. So whoever you are, thank David, and welcome to the family. You do that. You have your potassium, mate. So I did Skippy. Who's your next person you want to talk about?
I think we're going to have to talk about Kulu.
Let's do it.
I mean, I've been banging on for ages and ages about how Kulu needs to. He's not a right winger. Too predictable. Cuts in. One of the most frustrating things I've seen. Move inside. He's destined to move inside. He's been given his chance, and I'm sorry, you've just not grabbed it. You have not taken your chance. There are moments in a player's career where you get an opportunity and destiny follows. I think he's had this opportunity with all these injuries and all these players missing to step into the fold and deliver. And for me, he's been a major, major disappointment. You know, I look at players like Harry Kane. I know we're talking about you can't replicate, but if you look at the Harry Kane that started his career and the type of player he was and how he played his game and how his game developed, and then you look at Harry Kane when Eriksen left, and to fill that void, he started to drop deep. He looked at trying to pass the ball in a different way and add to his game. And I'm sorry, when I look at Kulu, okay, you should be on that training ground week in, week out, day in, day out, practicing on your weaker foot. I want to see, you know, you're just too predictable. I just want to see more from your other foot. You know, if he can produce something more on that other foot, that's why I thought coming inside and playing through the middle would work wonders for him. I mean, I've got to be honest with you. I mean, when Brennan Johnson came on, obviously Kulu moved into the middle, and I thought, you know, let's see what happens. But really, nothing happened through him, did it? I don't feel it. It all came from the flanks.
It's got to the point. I will say with Kulu, I love Kulu as a player. I think he's brilliant.
He needs to kick on.
I really do. I think you need, but do you know what? And I've mentioned this on many occasions. I'll go through it again. When we had Conte, the defensive manager, his attacking was electric. He was everywhere. Listen, we all know how phenomenal he was. He now does everything that he did at the top end in defence. His work rate to support the right back, whoever it may be, is outstanding. His bringing the ball forward. I watched Tottenham away yesterday, and when Stell was talking, he's second in the Premier League for progressive carries. Second in the entire Premier League. So he is doing that outstandingly. He's taking players on and bringing the ball out of trouble and getting us up the pitch outstandingly. But I want the old Kulu. I want the take on his man, get the ball in. Like I said, his reliance on his left foot there's a few occasions in that second half where he could have on his right foot, and he does occasionally on his right foot. That's why it gets me. You do see him sometimes use that right foot, but he is so over reliant on that left foot. Listen, Ryan Giggs was over reliant on his left foot, so you can't really
I'm not going to put Kulu in Ryan Giggs.
No, but I'm saying there are players that are predominantly one-footed that can do it and use it and get away with it. He needs to work on it. I mean, I will never ever have a bad word to say about Kulu when it comes to what he's doing defensively and what he's doing.
His work rate rate, Brian, is fantastic. But like you said, there was 2 or 3 times in that second half. He got free. Just hit the ball with your right foot. It doesn't matter. You know, if you hit the ball and it deflects or it goes somewhere or the keeper saves it, there are other players rushing in. But cutting back when you're in the box, if you've got an opportunity to shoot, it's just really frustrating. I'm not saying he's a bad player. I'm saying I want him to progress, and I don't see progression in his game. I don't see the progression. I see a great engine, a strong body. You know, he can hold up a ball, but I just want to see more from him.
Yep, right. I'm going to mention someone now, and I hope Colin Cross is in the building. I hope David is in the building. I want to talk Brennan Johnson, and I'm going to talk Brennan Johnson because do you know what? The first thing I saw is, let's do this chronologically. When I saw him on the bench, we've all been crying for it. Whether you're a fan of his or not, it just needed to happen. Came on in the second half to make an impact, and he did. He scored a goal, which is what we all thought he needed. He needed to come off and make an impact. He did. And then all across social media, and mainly whenever we mention social media, we mean Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, is, well, my grandma could have scored that goal. That goal was easy. That was a tap-in. It's like, and he had to be in that position, running in from the wing to get into the far post, to be there for it. Did he do much else? He did bits and pieces, but he came on to make an impact. And the biggest impact you can have on a football match is putting the ball in the back of the net. And hopefully, not saying it will, hopefully that will give him the confidence now that he has been so short of, to have a bit of belief in himself. His work rate was good. He did get back to try and help Porro. And he got the goal. He got the goal that we needed. People saying he can't score in a brothel. He can't do this. He can't do that. Well, he did. He scored. And he put us in the lead. And I think it's exactly what he needed. I'm not saying I think against Everton he starts on the bench again as well and comes on and makes an impact. And that's what probably is going to be the best thing for him, to get the best out of him at the beginning. But he got dropped. And how did he deal with it when he came back? He got on the score sheet. So fair play to you, Brennan.
For me, he's not a 90-minute player. I'm not quite sure why a 22-year-old does not have the engine to play for 90 minutes. I'm not quite sure why. I'm sure maybe we'll find out. People, I see lots of people commenting that he vapes. I've got no idea what that's about. It's probably another nonsense Twitter story. But he scored the goal. He got in the position to score the goal. Again, though, he needs to be braver. He needs to be braver. Be brave. Take your players on. There were moments, I'm looking on the left-hand side. Timo is taking his players on because Timo's football IQ is far greater than that of Brennan Johnson, okay? I don't think he's the smartest guy, full stop. And I question his football IQ, but he needs to be braver. There were moments where just take your player on, push the ball past him. You've got blistering pace, use it. So what if you get hacked down? Okay, he's still a bit too easy to get knocked off the ball. But I'm with you. He needs to be coming off the bench as an impact player. The type of player that can run at players with 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes to go in a game where there's lots of pressing. I mean, the game this season, the football this season is all about press, hard work rate. Teams are definitely tiring towards the end of games. A lot more action and goals coming at the end. And someone like Brennan Johnson, his pace is there to exploit that. And but he faded a bit. The first few minutes he looked really lively.
I'm going to add, and I'm going to let you finish it off, Johnny. Colin Cross, who obviously I would always give credit, he was the one that alerted everyone about Brennan Johnson coming to Spurs on this channel. He was well ahead of the curve when this deal was going down. And he's right here with what he said. He said, supporters give Gil all the time in the world. Oh, there's something there. Listen, there's loads of people that want Hill out and don't, but there are a lot of people that will say that there's something there. Give him time, let him go on loan, get minutes, blah blah blah. We're crucifying Johnson after 6 months, 6 months, and it's like, give the guy a chance.
We're giving him a chance, Colin. The thing is,
Colin, that's what I'm saying. He's saying compared to Gil, if everyone's given Gil three years,
Gil's not been given. Gil has not, with the greatest respect, Colin, and I respect you greatly. He's not been given any chance. Gil has not been given a run of games. He got a game against Palace under Conte, had a really good game, and then got shipped out. Right,
that's all we do with him. It's all we've done since we got him.
The beginning of this year, unfortunately, he got injured and missed the entire tour. So Ange never saw him. And then you saw how we started the season. He's not going to get any minutes. And then he's come in, with half the squad missing, half the players missing out injured, and he's meant to perform with a load of make weights. All I'm saying about Brennan Johnson is we're not saying he's finished. He's blessed with pace and he's got age on his side. But you can't tell me he's the finished article. I'm not going to sit there and say, he's the finished article. He's not. I'm listening to Timo Werner. Oh, he's a terrible crossing. I'm sorry. Some of Brennan Johnson's crossing is shocking, right? His thought process. Pick your head up. Look at the ball. Be braver in the challenge, right? I don't see bravery in the challenge. When to come short to receive the ball to help Porro out, when to come inside to help your midfield. when to make the runs to create space for others. That's not there for his game at the moment, I don't feel. But, you know, he's 22 years of age. Give him time and let's see what happens.
That's
The thing
what
is,
exactly what Colin's saying. That's
yeah,
exactly what Colin's saying.
£47 million. £47 million. I'm sorry, right? Okay. I think we paid way too much. That's not his fault.
Correct.
You know, when Brentford paid 35 million, someone slipped something into Daniel Levy's tea, because when they've accepted 35 million pound for Brentford, something's happened that Spurs ended up paying 47 million, which is quite ironic that Nottingham Forest want to bring us up in their FFP case. That you know,
I have to say very quickly, Johnny, just take on Tigaro's. Thanks for the membership. Tigaro, be valued member of the membership party.
100%.
Yeah.
It's a no-brainer. They're no-brainer. Listen, there'll always be a moronic fan base, right? I mean, the guy, as I said, he had 17 minutes in 2.5 months. He's just come to us. I think, you know, as you quite rightly put it, under Nagelsmann at RB, he was unbelievable, right?
Yep.
Playing expansive football. He's gone to Chelsea. They play a totally different system. But if I speak to Chelsea fans, I was expecting them to all say, oh, you bought a pile of crap. No, I haven't spoken to one Chelsea fan that said that they hated Timo Werner. They liked his work rate. He created space for others, and he's intelligent. And I think he's going to be, I personally think that if he carries on like this, they'll be signing him up. Be mad not to.
Correct. So who's your next special mention? Because I just did Brennan.
I would say, oh, hang on, forgotten who we
we've done the front line.
Vicario, Big Vic. 3 good saves in the first half. I don't know what was going on with the kicking. Something was up. There was a moment in that first half where no one was coming short for him. No one was moving, and he's like this. And he's got the ball, and our own crowd are whistling for him to kick, and he just kicks the ball out. He made 3 important saves in that first half. I think without those saves, I'm not sure where we would be. And then that save right at the end, where he tipped it over the bar, where would we be without that? And to finish it off, a nice bit of shithousery with Ivan Toney. I think I actually think I hated Lloris as a captain. I really did. I didn't ever see him really on the pitch as someone vocal. He probably was, but he never seemed to express it on the pitch. Vicario, to me, is a leader. He's a leader. I mean, in that first half, I was watching him, you know, at the back in corners, and he's a leader. He organises. Between him and Romero, I just think we got an absolute gem on our hands. It's amazing that we've conceded 33 goals this season.
Yep.
I think we are, other than Brighton, in the top 9, the worst goals conceded. And our goals against, our XGA, is it XGA? Yeah.
XG.
Our expected goals against.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. We are horrendous. I think we are the 6th worst in the entire league. Okay. If it wasn't for him, that number would be horrific. That number would be horrific. I mean, imagine how well he's played, and how many goals we've scored, and what that expected XG against is. As I said, 7th worst in the league. Without him, I don't know where we'd be. We wouldn't have the points we got now.
Oh, without doubt, listen, people know, but Big Vic is he's just unbelievable. I can't even the amount of saves that he makes, even though the flag's gone offside. I see so many goalkeepers where it's different now with the way they're offside and the flags go up late, where they'll just let the ball go in or whatever because they think it's offside. He never stops. He, as Ange would say, we never stop. Some of his saves are just out of this world, and Yes, his passing needs a bit of work on. I'm nowhere near the Lloris concern when he has the ball. I don't think it ever will be. He was outstanding. He has been outstanding, and some of the saves he made yesterday were vital. I'm going to pick a guy who I think, if this man hadn't been injured, we would be comfortably in the top four, and maybe in a title race or a title challenge. And his name is Mickey van der Ven. This guy,
It's about him, right?
mate. Whoa, big Mickey van der Ven. He's just magnificent. He is just an absolute joy to watch as a defender. Watching it, obviously, when you were live, you don't get to see the replays. I think there's a couple of runs where he was 5, 6, 7 yards off the players, and I still don't think we've seen him get into top gear. I still don't think he's turned the afterburners on, hit the NARS, and just literally gone and literally just let his legs take a bit. He's road runner. He is just absolutely, mate. You could say that he's just brilliant, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I actually think, look, for me, he's Jan Vertonghen with pace and height. Okay, I know that's a huge accolade. I don't give it often. I said Papa Sarr reminded me a year ago of a young Patrick Vieira. I don't take that back. And I'm not going to take back the fact that I think Mickey van der Ven is Jan Vertonghen with pace and height, and he could go on to be one of the best defenders without doubt in Europe. And I think he's the yin to Ramiro's yang. Basically,
yep,
they complement each other perfectly. You know, with the way that Udogie plays, you know, so far up the pitch, he needs to have that pace to get across. I mean, you could not play an average, you know, reasonably speedy, a reasonably quick left-sided centre-back in Ange's system. He needs to be exceptionally quick to cover that space, and that's what he does. You know, he can be given a 2 or 3 yard deficit, and he can make that up.
He's just, honestly, I have said that. Please God, he spends his entire career at Tottenham. Please God, or a huge chunk of it, like Jan Vertonghen did.
I think he needs to be better in the air, though. No, Brian.
I honestly think if he stays here for the 9 years, 10 years, or however long it may be, but for a very huge chunk of his career, we are talking. He goes in the conversation with the elite defenders that have graced this league. That's how good he is. He's just incredible. Your next one, Johnny.
He's got to get better in the air. I would say
he will. But who's your next one?
Let's just talk about Lolo. Look, he would not be playing right now had we had all our players back. When you look at the Lolo that came back from the first injury, we were all sitting there in wonderment. Wow, he's been out for this amount of time. Look how he's playing. He's unbelievable, right?
Yep.
The ball control, it was Lolo of old. You know, he was purring. So unusual for a player that's been out that long. But since the Cash injury, which we were told he wouldn't be back till February, I think he's been rushed back far too quickly. The last game, he looked totally off it. And this game, he was even worse. He kept giving the ball away. Peter Mabba. Oh dear. He wishes he was a BTEC Mabba wishes he was. I just think when the players come back, he needs a break. I'll be interested to see whether he was taken off to protect him for Everton on the weekend. I don't know, but he looked miles off it.
Oh, he did. He did. He did. And I thought everyone was waxing lyrical and getting ready to see Maddison and him. Obviously, Brentford had their game plan, and I thought they would have more of an impact together. But yeah, he does look a little rusty, and being forced to play. Listen, when he's back, if he gets back to where he was before the cash injury, which he will, then he'll be flying. But it wasn't his best game. But I'm going to mention one more. There's two I could mention. One being Romero, who I thought was really good yesterday. But I'm going to mention who I think is our player of the season. I'm going to mention Pedro Porro again. I love Pedro Porro with all my heart. Him and Van der Ven are my favourite players. Van der Ven just pips him. But I think Porro is just awesome. And I think he makes mistakes, or I don't even know if they're mistakes. He gets found out, as we saw at Burnley, Johnny, at close quarters when we were there for that first goal. But this is all the way he's been asked to play. He needs to improve on it. Even in the half time, we were talking about pushing him up to right wing for that game if need be.
Yeah, he can do that. Yeah.
Which he can do, exactly. He can do, but I think he's the most. Yesterday was his 1 year anniversary, and you think how it started at Leicester, and how it is 1 year later. But you look how it is now. It's night and day. I think Porro is our player of the season. I think he had another great game yesterday.
I think he just needs to improve defensively. There's still elements of his game that he needs to improve. He can deliver a ball unbelievably, or at certain games he can go off. When he's on song, he's unbelievable. It was interesting to see, funny enough, Maddison went over to take a couple of corners and he was sort of told no. And Porro took them, which would have been a bit of a smart because, if you remember when we played Bournemouth and he went over to take the corner, he got all the mocking. He's normally the man that takes the corners. I'd like to see them mix it up. Maybe he's just not taking corners now because he's coming back from injury. I don't know, but let's see how we go. But
did you see this at the end, Johnny? Did you see this at the end? This was unbelievable. When they literally just went up and backed each other, mate. Yeah. Their bond and their commitment to defending.
They all are like that. Look at when Richie scored. What's the name scored the goal? They're all chest pumping. They're all coming down, and they're very, very together. This is the most together our squad has been in years. Honestly.
Oh yeah, forgot about that. We got Sonny versus Angie's boys later on today. But Joe, I'm getting wary of time because the boys have got to start prepping for their show. Let's get on to the man himself. Let's get on to Ange. Johnny, your thoughts on Mr. Postecoglou?
I wish he'd stop going. I mean, what is that? Some have work with him. I mean, really. I mean, stop looking at the floor and grunting. I don't know what the UFC comment was about. I want my players to bitch, right?
Yep.
I want them to. He doesn't want them to have any conversation with the referee. Let the referee the game. I understand what you're saying, but if you allow the other team to get in the referee's ear and to influence the referee while you sit around and do nothing, I'm sorry, that ain't the way to go. There has to be a balance. I mean, I watch Arsenal and it makes me sick. I mean, Arteta constantly in the ear of the fourth official. Yep. The players constantly surrounding the referee, constantly nudging, constantly going down, looking for a free kick, screaming. It's just doing it to our job.
Listen, what I will say with John, what I will say, we said it at the beginning, Johnny. His substitutions, and we've had this with previous managers as well. We've wondered, and at the beginning of the season, they were all turning right, whether we agreed with them or not. They're all turning right. And listen, this man knows best. And at half time, he had to do something. So I was like, how the hell? Not only is he going to change it personnel wise, is he going to go at half time and making a double substitution was bold. And then whatever he said, because he certainly they had come out like literally they had their asses handed to them, and was not. If I could have been a fly on the wall at that at half time, it would have been exceptional to see, because they came out like a bullet out of a gun. They were absolutely flying, and I think he got everything right. I really do in this game. Listen, it wasn't the greatest performance, but Thomas Frank played him in the first half, and as a manager, you've got to think, right, how do I outsmart him? And he did. And he did. Any more to say, Johnny?
Yeah, I just think that I would like to see some flexibility or variant of his tactic. I just think no matter what manager you are, yeah,
We've all got
a
that.
hard watch. It's a hard watch, but I just would like to see some variation in the tactics. I think if he goes like this and plays like this in Europe, he's going to get found out. I think he needs to adapt. I'm not saying I'm against him. He's the manager. I'm not the manager, right? He's getting paid a fortune to do his job. I'm not. But I just think that whoever you are, whatever the manager you are, have some variant. Pep, when he played us the other night, what he did, he sandwiched us, compressed us, because he knew that we had no creative midfielders on the pitch that could break the line. And, he strangled us. And he knew how to suppress it. Bournemouth, right? They played into the space behind, 25 shots. Only
Brentford.
No, I'm talking about Bournemouth at home.
Oh, okay, sorry.
25 attempts. And Solanke had about 4 or 5 attempts. Had that been Richarlison, we'd never heard the end of it. Man United, a poor Man United team, it tried to exploit it, but didn't. But they utilised that space. And I just think that even the pundits are talking about it now. That space behind Johnson, or the space behind Werner, is space to be exposed, and top teams will. So I just think that if they are doing that, let's try and have a variant on it. I'd like to see that on Ange. But listen, how can we complain? We've gone 7 months ago, 8 months ago. This club was a toxic mess, playing the worst football I can remember seeing for years on end. And now we're watching exciting football. Even if you lose, it's exciting, right? I would rather lose 3-2, 4-2 than sit at the edge of my box defending, waiting to be shot in the back of the head for 75 minutes and fall asleep. I'd rather lose going for it than the way we were before. So in my opinion, it's all positive. We're fourth in the league, and we got a lot to be happy for. I mean, for us to be in this situation under Ange with all these injuries is a miracle. Look where Newcastle are.
Yep. And Joe, what, we're going to wrap it up there. Just to let you know, Rich, with the Valise possibly going to Seville, we'll have to wait and see. But that will all, the reason I've brought that up, because that will all be revealed with everything that's going on with Deadline Dayhem on Tottenham on Tour, which will be starting, I believe, at 11 a.m. or 11:30. And we're going right through to the deadline day. We're going to be having guests on. We're going to be having Ben and Rez starting it in the UK. Then me, Ryan, are going over to Bryan Islands. We're going to try and have a few special guests come on. One of them coming on at, I think, 12:30 our time, which is 5:30 UK time, is Twitter's great Billy T. So if anyone knows, if you don't know Billy T, I don't know where you've been. If you're on Twitter, Billy T will be on the show later on today. I've got to. Apparently, I've been told to bring this up. My team are telling me to bring it up. So there we go. That will be coming up. Rez and Kim have been doing some incredible work. So all the graphic, the artwork, the setup, everything is down to Rez and Kim's absolute brilliance.
Should change that to a pigeon.
Well, it's not a bad idea. Yeah, so they've been doing incredible work. Rez has done. We'll be live, but Rez will be dropping loads of things. There will be a documentary about a certain manager coming out, or whatever you want to call it. There will be going over transfer deadline days of January gone by. There'll be loads of little snippets from Tottenham on tour, as well as a huge mammoth live show with guests taking you right up to 11. The window closes at 11. We'll probably go on a bit longer. But Johnny, where can people find you?
Johnny H3232 on Twitter. And if you go and follow me there, I'm back on the spaces again after a long break. If you follow me there, or if you go there, if you could give me a follow on my new Insta, as my old one with 9,500 followers was deleted by Instagram. Thank you very much. And obviously, you can find me here with Brian on Tottenham on Tour, Ange-r Management.
And hopefully you'll be on again today, Johnny. We'll get you back on during the day.
I was just about to say, I'll speak to you afterwards.
We'll
I thought we were going on. So
we'll be going on all day. We'll speak behind the scenes in a minute. But what I will say is, like I said, keep an eye out. Tottenham on Tour are doing a marathon all for you guys. Going to be very inclusive, very, very interactive. Loads of stuff to speak about. Let's hope we get some players in.
If you could follow Brian, he's our new addition to Tottenham on Tour.
Yeah, the brand new one. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a bit of a Levy fan, but he don't like to talk about it.
I'm a fan of Levy leaving.
Levy.
I'm not a fan of Levy. But on that note, what I will say is thank you for joining the show. Like, comment, share, subscribe. And as always, Levy out.
Come on, you.
Tottenham Tour.